In this video help tutorial, we're going to be discussing the overview for the application and the user interface. The way the user interface is going to work, we're going to start at the upper left-hand corner. We're going to go down through the items until you understand how the interface works. The first thing I want to point out is the colored buttons, they look like buttons. They're fields. That's what they're called. And in some cases, fields are actually locked, so you cannot edit them. But all these fields up here are called primary fields, in that when you start up on the student record and add this information at the top of the screen will be shared through most of the screens in the application. That's what a relational database does. It shares data across records. In this particular case, this is the primary information, and when you create a new record in here, which is part of the user interface, in this case it's record ID number 1, the person puts their information in. If they have a major or they're going to be changing their major, then they would change the record and move to a different new record, which would give you a new ID number. Or if you're in, say for example, a history thing and you're in the first semester and you put the year, and I'm using bogus numbers so they're easy to identify when you get the application. We're going to be leaving this information in here, and we want you to overwrite it by clicking in the field and then using the keyboard to go ahead and edit out what the information is there and then add your own. So you could add your own name, your major and minor, your grade point average, your year of the current classes that you're attending, and the semester is either the first, and these are drop downs, first, second, third, fourth, and you can add a value by clicking here and editing. You could add a sixth or seventh if that's how long you're going to be in college. But normally it's a 1 through 4, or you could be a graduate student and it'd be graduate whatever it is, like master's and doctorate or so forth. And so for the standpoint of, say for example, you're in a technical school, this could be used in the same way at first, second, and fourth through the fourth semester, so you can have that information added to the application. Now, if you're looking up or using the information for the full name, this field over here is used for the full name. This is all part of this interface here. So if you want to do a find, and we're going to show you how to do that, you don't have to do it by the first or last name. You can do it by the full name if you need to. The buttons up here at the top of the screen are part of the user interface. This one takes you to our website support site so that you can, if you have any chat questions or you want to email us or you want to call or you want us to call you on Skype, we'll be glad to do that. You have free technical support, and we use Skype for technical support because I can talk to you at the same time to answer your questions and or show you my screen and walk through and do a tutorial. We do offer free online demos using Skype if you're interested in learning more about this application. Now this application, we did a little unique thing that we don't normally do. We do a universal application, and in this particular case we're going to try something to see how well it works out. And we've done it in the past. We're going to do it again, where it has iPhone menus and it has iPad menus. This is an iPad size screen in the user interface, and if I go to the same screen in a iPhone, you'll see that it's smaller and there's a white area over at the other side. That's because the iPhone screen in portrait, it won't work, but in landscape, the information will all be able to be scrolled on the screen using the iPhone menus and everything on this side. If I wanted to go to the same thing in classes over here, you can see this is an iPad size screen. And then of course, if you're looking over here, all these are the iPhone screens, and then these are a little larger screens, more like the one you're looking at here, and they're shared between. If you go there, you're going to have to do a little bit more scrolling on an iPhone, but they're still usable. And these are called list views and portals. And there's a calendar at the bottom that actually opens up Google Calendar, so you can add schedules and stuff in there if you want them on your Google Calendar. You can also use some of the screens in here if you wanted to go to a different website. We're going to be talking about those. Are all included in the application on specific screens. The next thing is, if you see something that says new record up in here, this means it is a primary record, and this is where you enter new record data. There are only a few records like this in the actual application where you would be adding a new record. Since this is the primary screen, when you start up, you're going to be adding one. If you click a new record, this numeral up here will change to the next record that is being used. It'll go up one notch. Right now there are 4 records, actually 5 in the application. And what you do is when you get this application, All this data you see here will still be in the application. What we're asking you to do is click in and overwrite the data to put in the data that you want in here. Say, for example, if your whole family can use this application on an iPad or an iPhone, then you can have each person have their own records, their own major and minors, and all the information. Now, you would create a new record if you were going from year to year. So, for example, we have a grade point average for the current year 2012, which of course is bogus. This is 2016, but I use that in there just to make sure that you change it to the next numeral. This is the different semesters, and you can also click this to add, say, for example, graduate things like master's and PhD, or if you're in a technical school, you can also put your technical school, whatever it is, your first year, second year, whatever it is, as far as technical school is concerned. So you have your majors and minors, you have your calendar information and years, and then over here, this is your semester credits for this particular class that you're working in. So if this class is identified, this one is the class for, say, 101, and your classes that you actually attended. Now, these buttons that are in here will navigate to other screens that are, like, we call them quick keys, because what you basically can do is in this application, it will take you to something that will help you to find another record for a different person or go to another record you want to view. Okay, so we pretty well covered everything. Support takes you to our website support site, and you can chat and either call us, and we can use Skype to show you how the screens all work. I think I might have covered that, and then down at the bottom, there's places with these green arrows where you can take notes and keep information. These are also searchable screens, and including this particular stuff here, you can actually search within these. And how do you do that? You come up here, you click this, and this particular drop down, a little pop over, is where you do a start find. If you click start find, it's going to start a record where you can go in and you can find information. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my name in, and I'm not going to put my last name in. I'm going to put it over here. Let's say V-A-U-G-H-N. And what happens is when I click anywhere on the screen and I still have all these little magnifying glass shows, it means that I have not completed the find. The way I click complete it is I go down here and I say do find, and then the record flips over and you see this little thing flash up. I'm going to show you what that does. If I click down here and I go into this little bullet, and sometimes it may be at the bottom of the screen, if you click on it, it's going to tell you that you're on one record in the found set, 1 of 1, and this is a number 1 record, and there are 4 omitted records, so there's a total records 5. And you can say either show all if you want to show them all, and it brings them all back, because I searched for one, and now if I look at it and I click down here, you'll see that it says 5 records in selection, 5 of 5. I can omit a record, the one I'm currently in, and what that does, it takes it out of the found set, and then you go back and you're looking at different records. Okay, we can say, first of all, I want to point out you never use these two buttons. We have new record up here, which is the plus, and the minus is delete. Those are never used because we put appropriately things in for deleting records. If you can, like, you don't want to delete the primary record. I have delete buttons on the portal records, so you can delete records in the portals. So do not get rid of the master record, the primary. You always keep that, because if you delete this, it orphans all the other screens, meaning that they don't have an ID anymore on the other screens, and that can cause all kinds of problems. So don't use this. Only use the records where you see new record to create a new record, and don't delete them unless you see a delete button. To go back a record, you can click here and it'll go back one record. That's like sweeping with your fingers. So this is supported to do the sweep with the arrows in here. This takes you to the top of the record, to the top field. It allows you to insert a date or whatever you want. You can go to the previous or next record, up field. In this case, if I clicked into this one and I said next, it will go to the next field, and previous the other way backward. So that's how the interface works. There's also, you can have a field in here with data in it. You can click bold, italic, or underline, and if you hold your button down in a field, and I'm going to go back to the first record so I can show you this. If you hold your record down in here, once it's clicked, it'll pop up The same things you always see on an iPad or iPhone. We can select all, paste text, and style. Style lets you go ahead and change the size, the color, and the font. You can make it bold, italic, or underlined. So this is all part of the interface that you're going to be working with. And now that's a good brief, so we can get going on the next video where we're going to go in and actually start adding data and get an idea how the application works. Thank you.